What's up, guys? Today we're going to have kind of a fun little discussion video because everyone loves like these top videos I do. So today we're going to talk about the top 5 most popular heroes in top 100 arena defenses, and I can testify to having to deal with these heroes all the time. It's the first week of Endeavor season. I did manage to rank in the top 100 this week, so here I am. I have 32 season points. I'm ranked 68 in the world. I think that was, that's like Legend 6 or something. If you guys don't know, I'm East Coast, so it ends 1 a.m. Sunday, so usually I don't bother to do rush hour because my girlfriend yells at me. But we'll see. We'll see if I can rank in the top 100, depending on how arduous the grind is. But anyways, what I did for this video is I looked at all these arena defenses. Some of these names I don't recognize, so I'm pretty sure they'll fall off soon, but it's pretty close. And I counted up how often each of these heroes showed up, and I think it's pretty interesting. So let's talk about honorable mentions first. So some heroes that are popping up pretty common are things like ML Tywin. Not that many people have him, but ML Tywin is making a comeback. You can see in the top 5, he's on 3 of the defenses. He's very powerful, but he's definitely not the most common. Assassin Sid shows up decently. F. Clury's actually popping up a lot, particularly when paired with Rholit. Gets pretty scary if she defense breaks your Rwanda or something, and Rholit immediately one-shots something. People are starting to use Tempest Surin, and things like Alencia and Lilius are still common. Basar has fallen off a lot. SSB is pretty much non-existent in the top 100. And I think those are the main honorable mentions. Around actual rush hour A cards start popping up as well. But we're not going to talk about those heroes too much because I want to talk about the actual top 5 most common ones. And I try and guess what they are before I get into them, because I think some of you guys might find it pretty interesting. So number 5, currently, out of the top 100 defenses, can you guess what it is? It's Arbiterbildred. So as of this list right now, out of the top 100 defenses, there are 32 people rocking Arbiterbildred, which is actually funny to me because it's actually gone down. Now, everyone knows that Arbiterbildred is extremely annoying, right? He's strong against cleave teams. He's also strong against bruiser teams with Alexa's Basket. He always has the potential to one-shot destroy you. So he's still a very annoying hero to deal with overall. But it's funny because he's on the Mystic banner, so now everyone has him. Everyone who's a top player at this point has Arbiterbildred, but his utilization has actually gone down because Arbiterbildred has been a problem for so long that pretty much everyone has learned how to deal with him. If you don't have an extinction hero like me, he's still not really that hard to deal with. Depending on the comp, you can just SSB auto it. So Arbiterbildred is actually kind of going down in utilization, but he's still Arbiterbildred, so he still does make it into the top 5. But I wonder what it's going to look like later on. I don't think he'll ever entirely go away, but I think he's scariest right now when paired with something like Rholit. A lot of people are running like Rholit Arbiter defenses, and they're running them both pretty fast, like 210, 220-ish. And if they go first, sometimes if you're bringing like a Ruel SSB auto team against it, your Ruel can get one-shotted before she even gets a turn. But alright, so that's number 5. Number 4 is Rwanda, actually. So in this list, currently, I'm sure it'll change, she shows up 33 times. Now, Rwanda is not the most popular hero, and she doesn't seem particularly good, right? But she's there for one reason, and you guys have to understand in top 100, I mean, it's like a grind fest, and it's really boring, and the team I use the most, honestly, is an SSB auto team. Against certain teams, all you have to do is join it with an SSB auto team, click auto, and walk away for 10 minutes, and then you'll have free points. And that's the only reason why people are sticking Rwandas on their defenses. But because Rwanda basically means SSB auto teams don't work, That's why Rwanda is so popular. That's literally the only reason she exists, to make sure that the team can't be SSB autoed, and no one does it better than Rwanda. So I don't see her going away anytime soon unless they nerf SSB, which they won't. So yeah, Rwandas are going to stay on defense. The funny thing about Rwanda is that she kind of sucks against everything else. She is kind of annoying because when paired with something like Ruel, the revive buff makes Ruel even more annoying to kill. Something like this over here from the unfortunately named the Big Boner. Even if you kill Ruel, if Rwanda has the revive buff up, you have to kill her twice. That's a pretty tall order. So Rwandas are pretty popular, and she's in the top 5. Now, number 3, according to my list, is Miss Ruel. Now, there's no surprise that Ruel is in the top 5 because she's a very strong defensive hero. She's strong against both cleave teams and bruiser teams. Very tanky base stats, very hard to kill, and also absolutely god tier install comps. Like pretty much anyone who has Ruel is going to find some way to incorporate her into their defense. Very strong hero. I imagine she'll stay around for a long time, but she had 44 instances of being used in the current top 100, so almost 50% of teams are using her. So that's number 3. Now let's talk about number 2, a newcomer into the Epic 7 world, Rholit. This little douche is absolutely everywhere. So in the top 100, he is currently on 54 of the top 100 defenses. He's just annoying to deal with. The funny thing about hitting Rholit defenses, throughout the week, I use a cleave team mostly because I don't really care. But the funny thing about Rholit is he either destroys you, or like if I use a Judge Kisei cleave, like, you know, even with MLDB, he only has 70% evasion, so there are a lot of times where I just hit him and one-shot him, and the match is a total joke. But that's the thing about Rholit. They always add that coin flip to every match, because if you try to cleave it and he dodges everything, you're gonna lose. So once you're in the top 100, you're not really looking to ever lose. Win streaks also become kind of important unless you're just Skystone spamming flags, because you get extra rating if you have a win streak. So Rholit makes basically cleave not feasible for the most part. I mean, I'm sure there's some interesting cleaves out there that could do it, but again, a lot of these defenses are just tailored around using Rholit and a team pair to protect them. Like this number 1 guy here. A good thing to do against many Rholit defenses is to just SSB auto it, although sometimes you have to be kind of dicey with the manual because you don't want it timed where Rholit potentially 5-stack counter S3s and then S3s right after, because that might one-shot you. But other than that, you can kind of SSB him pretty easily. This guy opted to do Rwanda and Rholit, so SSB is not an option. So basically you have to do some kind of weird team to try and take this out. Realistically, the best bet to take out this guy, I would probably use like a Crow or something and just tank it out until the revive buff is down and just Crow the Rholit. So no defense is unbeatable, but that's kind of what this guy must be going for. So Rholit's very scary. You can put him on pretty much any team and he's a threat. My best advice is if you do use Rholit, try and pair him with something that is not going to get automatically SSB'd down. So a lot of people are doing Ruel and Rwanda plus Rholit to get rid of that SSB threat. But if you can get rid of SSB for the most part, you get rid of any safe option to take out Rholit. Like against this kind of team, I would probably use something like F Clury, S10A, FCC or something, but still gets pretty dicey because Rholit does so much damage, but theoretically that might work. Actually, maybe not, because Ruel can revive him still. I don't know, that's what I mean. Rholit makes you have to question your offense a lot, so one of the best ways to have a good defense is just make people dodge you. Rylot's very good at that. A lot of people just dodge you if you have Rholit. So honestly, I think it might be the strongest thing he's in right now. He's still strong in Guild Wars and RTA, but I would say Arena Defense, he's very, very meta now. So if you have him built, use him. It's a very scary hero. Now, number 1, landslide victory. Can you guys guess what it is? On 86 of the current top 100 defenses is good old Fallen Cecilia. She is literally everywhere. Like, it's hard to run into a defense in Legend that doesn't have Fallen Cecilia. She's on every single team. And it's really not surprising why. I mean, her kit is just so good because at the high end, it's all about damage mitigation. No one does damage mitigation better than Fallen Cecilia. Thick automatic barrier every turn. A huge opening barrier that can't be dispelled by things like Cerise, Athletica and Bassar can, but still very powerful, gives your team a whole lot of survivability. She's a knight, so she can carry either Adamant or Aureus for even more damage mitigation. Has a 100% provoke, has a skill nullifier for your entire team. Like, her kit is overloaded for defensive purposes. So when you're trying to build your team to be tanky, like every single person in Legend is supposed to do, and realistically, once you get to Rush Hour, I'd probably say more like 100% of teams that, like, if they own FCC, it's going to be on their defense. By far, the most common defensive hero. The only thing that's good about dealing with FCC is everyone knows what she does, and it's not like you have to question your strategy against FCC like you do for something like Rholit or Arbiter or something like that. Like, you know, she just stands there and makes their team take less damage, but still, she makes them take a lot less damage. So especially for stall comps, pretty much mandatory. So if you don't have FCC, that's too bad. I mean, I'm assuming anyone who's not using FCC on their defense is just because they don't have them, because honestly, there's no reason not to otherwise. So for those of you who aren't really familiar with high-end Arena, I hope you kind of learned something from that, from the top 5 most common Epic 7 heroes used at the top end. And again, this is not the most accurate top 100 list because I'm checking early in the week and not the end of the week, but I will say that it is fairly representative. The top 5, I think, is spot on for whatever it would be even at the end of the week. I would say I'd see slightly more A-carts and stuff, but A-cart wouldn't even make it into the top 5 anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And if you look at this top 5, now I'm going to kind of go on a quick little tangent here. It makes sense because here are the 2 things that all top 100 players are trying to avoid. Number 1 is a cleave team, so a lot of that's just getting so tanky. At this stage of the game, unless you have like the godliest gear, cleave is not really feasible in the top 100. I can tell you that if I try to cleave a top 100 person with my crappy Judge Kisei, I will lose 100% of the time because there are literally cases where I do an S2, S3 combo with Judge Kisei into a double knight comp, and they're all at over 80% HP still, if they had something like an FCC. With all the defensive imprints and health imprints and their crazy gear, that's just how it works. So unless you have super god tier gear, and you're running something like Aloch, J Kisei, CDOM, Arbiter, for the most part, cleaving is not really viable. So that's the first thing they're trying to avoid, cleave teams. The other thing they're trying to avoid is SSB auto teams, like I said. That's why all the Rwandas and stuff are here. And that's mainly their goal. If they can deter cleave teams and SSB auto teams, pretty much everyone in the top 100 is accepting the fact that they're going to lose to some kind of bruiser team. But it's going to be very irritating because to use those kind of teams on offense, you have to manual it, and it takes freaking forever. So it's easily like 3 to 10 minutes per match, and it's a pain in the ass, and a lot of people just skip those fights until they absolutely have to take them during rush hour. So anyways, I hope you guys learned something. I think I'm going to wrap that up here. If you guys have any questions, leave it in the comments section below. And if you are trying to end this season in the top 100, best of luck to you. Maybe I'll see you there. Till next time, guys. Peace out.